Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. It is time. It's 10 o'clock. It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time for Tech Briefs. I'm Greg Nibler, joined now by Ken Young from Flipboard. Hello, Ken.
Hey, Greg. Nice to see you.
Good to see you, too. It's always a challenge to see how much we can get in the amount of time that we need to do it, and there's a lot that's been happening this week. Why don't we start from the beginning of the week, going with Fortnite, the Fortnite World Championship, and just what a tremendous impact esports is making on the world in general, but how big this event was. I mean, this, I think, more than any other event, has really put esports on the map.
Yeah, this absolutely puts to rest the argument that, when our parents used to say, stop playing video games, you won't amount to anything. That whole argument is gone. Kids these days can go to their parents and say, really? I can now make $3 million just by playing Fortnite.
$3 million?
$3 million. A 16-year-old has basically paid their way to college, and a home, and whatever else they want to do for a long, long time by beating millions of players who for $3 million. And now you think of the magnitude of Fortnite's World Cup. This multi-day tournament, more than 40 million people auditioned or tried out to get a spot on the stage. So this is going to be a massive thing, and they've already shown teasers for what's going to happen for season 10 with the next iteration of Fortnite. So this is absolutely insane. You had major players on the stage and also celebrities, including the renowned DJ Marshmello, and also also Ninja, who has 14 million followers on Twitch. So this is absolutely an insane thing. And more than 2 million people streamed the competition live.
Yeah, I mean, that many just streaming live. So 40 million people tried out. They got it down to 100. This one kid won $3 million, which another interesting thing, they were at Arthur Ashe Stadium, which the U.S. Open is also there for tennis. The winner of that, I think, only makes about $3.5 million. So these prize payouts are getting up there. I mean, these are actually major professional, I guess you could say athlete, entertainer. I'm not sure what the proper term would be, but nonetheless, that's showing what the power of this is. And you brought up Ninja being absolutely one of the stars of esports right now, or just gaming, just game streaming in general, leaving Twitch. That was the announcement. So that's huge.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, he's one of the most highly sought after people on Twitch. 14 million followers on here. Now he's gone on to Microsoft's version of Twitch, which is called Mixer. Now, most people may not know what Mixer is. It's actually a rebrand of Beam, a company that Microsoft bought in 2016.
Oh.
Now, this is going to be very interesting. No word on what's going to happen in terms of what kind of compensation he got as a part of the deal. But I mean, this is going to be very interesting in terms of how Microsoft is reshaping itself to better compete against Twitch. In a weird way, it's almost like Amazon and Microsoft once again butting heads, because as we know, Twitch is owned by Amazon and Mixer is owned by Microsoft. Now with Mixer, I mean, could we see Ninja start to play a whole new set of games that are under the Xbox catalog? Now, Xbox has a good tie-in with Mixer, so this is going to be very interesting to see what are the games does Ninja start to pick up. Of course, Fortnite is available on many platforms, so I don't think people will like not see Ninja play ever again. He's still going to probably be playing on playing Fortnite for many years to come.
Well, it shows that Twitch is getting some very major challengers now for that. And again, the whole overall idea here is just how big esports is and how big these gaming platforms are becoming, and what a power and economic power they are now. And talking about economic power, let's talk about Capital One. And yet another data breach. We had the Equifax ruling that came out, and there's some news about that we want to discuss as well. But Capital One recently announcing a 100 million person data breach. So 100 million people could have had their data taken from the US, 6 million from Canada. And this data breach was all based on basically a third-party contractor, this woman who broke in and was able to take all this data and then was going to be selling it online. She got caught. But nonetheless, it's just another example of our data not being secure with a major financial institution.
Oh, absolutely. This week has been there's been many different data breaches, including Poshmark recently, which was announced just yesterday. They had a data breach. This one is going to Capital One specifically is an interesting one because the FBI has already arrested somebody responsible for the breach. A former Amazon employee, Paige Thompson, I believe is her name. She left Amazon 3 years ago, but she's a hacker under the name Erratic. But she's also been accused of computer fraud for taking control of access of data from 100 million Capital One customers. So this is very interesting to see. I mean, especially in light of Equifax, financial data is all out there, and Capital One has since apologized for the intrusion. Now, this is going to be what makes this more notable is because Capital One, their data is stored on AWS, Amazon Web Services. Now, there's no suggestion that Amazon Web Services was to blame for this, but there's obviously the FBI and the Department of Justice is still investigating. The New York Attorney General is investigating this breach as well, and Congress has called for investigation as well.
Which there should be. I mean, there certainly should be with something like this. And that's something we're going to be finding out a lot more about as it goes through, as more information gets revealed, how she was able to do this. There's also been some word that she may be involved in some other things as well. But I highly doubt that it's just one person when it comes down to this. And what else is going to fall out, we'll certainly be following that story along. Now, when it comes to the Equifax thing, I think a lot of us figured out last week that you could go to a certain site, you could type in your name and some information and find out if you were part of that settlement. And then you got the choice between some different credit monitoring services or taking $125. I found out I was on that list. I took the $125. Ken, I believe you did too, didn't you?
Yeah, I was on this list, but you know what? That $125 that you're supposedly promised may actually not be the case. Like, you might actually be better off taking the 10-year credit monitoring provided by Equifax. So that's kind of a weird thing because, look, this is a $700 million settlement between regulators and authorities and Equifax. That might seem like great, there's going to be some sort of accountability. But realistically, you take out of that $700 million, $31 million was set aside specifically for cash payouts. So $31 million divided up by 125, how many people are actually going to get that full amount? Not the 147 million customers that were impacted by the Equifax breach. So this is going to be very interesting because the FTC is warning people or cautioning people not to take the $125 claim because realistically, you're not going to get the full $125. It depends on how many people file for that cash payout. And basically, the more people that file for the cash payout, you're going to get up to $125. So you might actually wind up getting pennies. So that's why they're saying, look, don't go for the cash payout, go for the 10-year credit monitoring. And for some people, it may make sense. Other people are very skeptical, understandably, because do you want Equifax to provide that credit monitoring because they're the ones that had the data breach, because they're the one that failed to upgrade and protect their infrastructure. So it's like, I'm not really sure what to believe here. And better off just giving $125 because that's actually what you've been promising. But you really, you just shot me, so I'm going to trust you to protect me. I don't think that's going to work.
Well, I'm just mad that you and I aren't getting our $125 if that is the case. That we need to get to the bottom of that. Well, the final thing we want to bring up here too, and just bringing you up to date on some of the stories in tech this week. The Samsung, we're getting ready for the Unpacked event, which is happening next week. Gearing up for that, we've already had some announcements. We have the Galaxy Tab S6, which came out earlier this week. We have a full review at Digital Trends, I'm sure on Flipboard as well. And we know that there's going to be a Galaxy Watch released beforehand, I think on August 5th. Is when that's going to come out. So that's leading up to the actual Unpacked event, which is going to be the Galaxy Note 10, the Note 10 Plus, that entire line. We've seen some information come out about it. We know that the headphone jack is gone. It's out, which means that's probably kind of the death knell for the headphone jack in general. That brings it to Apple now, their high-end phones, Pixel high-end phones. And if Samsung's doing it, I think this is just going to trickle down to the rest of phones eventually here, where our headphone jacks are going away. But what I'm curious about is what else we're going to see from Samsung on that event.
Well, look, I think if anything, there's going to be high demand for that wonderful, wonderful headphone jack, right? I mean, you got that 3.5 millimeter to a USB. I mean, those things are going to be rolling off the shelves like that. I mean, this is going to be
gold.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're not releasing this on Black Friday. But this is going to be a great Christmas sale. Let me tell you. But no, I think, look, we talked about the Samsung Tab being, that's the new iPad Pro competitor. I'm not going to say it's a killer because obviously that's going to be that's a bit of a stretch. Now you have the watch, which is a typical watch. It's probably going to have EKG capabilities, so it's going to be more on par with the Apple Watch. And of course, now that the Note 10 is coming out, potentially it's going to be 5G, no headphone jack, as you said. So that means usually, here's the interesting thing with the Note. Usually in the past, it's always followed with the same features as the Galaxy. This time, they're actually taking it one step further, getting rid of the headphone jack. So I'm pretty sure you're going to start to see with the Galaxy S11, probably won't have the headphone jack either. Now, one thing I'm very interested about with the Note, what's going to happen to the Bixby button? Is that actually going to be there? Who knows? But it'll be very interesting to see what kind of update are you going to do with the S Pen. But look, as you said, they've already Samsung's already announced the Tab. They've already announced they're going to be announcing the watch. So what are they going to do for the next for the remaining time they have at their Unpacked event next week?
I think
Rumors have it it's probably going to be the Galaxy Home. This thing they announced at their Samsung Developer Conference in 2018. And I believe it's supposed they said earlier this year that it's going to be announced, it's going to be launched in the fall. I read this on Digital Trends. So, I mean, this got to be very interesting to see. And will people actually want it now? I mean, you not only have the Galaxy Home that could come out in the fall, so maybe next month, but then you also have the Galaxy Fold, which could potentially launch next month. So who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah,
maybe they debut the Galaxy Fold again next week. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, we'll watch. We'll find out what's going on, and then of course we'll let you know on Digital Trends and Flipboard for everything with that. But Ken, once again, thank you for joining us. It is another episode of Tech Briefs. I will talk to you next week.
Looking forward to it.